So, hello, welcome to another video, and this one is a battle report between my Novitiates and Mrs. Tabletop Impulse is trying out the new Genestealer cult White Dwarf kill team, otherwise known as the Wyrmblade. So, when we played this, the White Dwarf had been out for a couple of days. She's got some Genestealer cultists that she used to run in Kill Team 2018, and she's quickly kind of dug them out, and you can see in the photo she's kind of changed some arms around and things, so they're not painted, they're not beautiful, but we wanted to try them out, and then I suggested we make a battle report so that people could have a look at how they performed in game. So here we have the first turn, and as I'm recording this, we played the game yesterday, so I'm going to do my best to remember exactly what happened. So over on your left hand side here, you've got the initial deployment. The scenario, I want to remember what it's called. It's the one where you've got the two main objectives in the middle, and each objective has a firewall. So you disarm the firewalls, you get a victory point, and then once one firewall is disarmed, this objective is worth one victory. This objective will be worth one victory point. The second one it will be worth two, and the same on the other side. Deployment was fairly straightforward. So from my point of view, I managed to position my sniper up here on this piece of terrain, which was in my deployment zone. Although I will say that Mrs. Tabletop Impulse set up the board. I lost the roll-off, so I was the defender, and I actually looked at the table and said, okay, we want to turn them around because I want the advantageous, there is clearly an advantageous sort of deployment zone on this one slightly, so went for that. I'll just pick out some key miniatures. So here you've got the Eviscerator wielding sister, and the one with the whips behind her here. Here we've got the leader. Here is the medic. Over here, this having made its scouting move dash, we both picked dash in the scouting phase. You can see my duelist, and she's right behind the door there in this Octarius terrain. We were playing with the doors enabled, right? I know there's some controversy about that, which I think I mentioned in a previous video about Warhammer Worlds not going to use the doors on the Octarius tables, but they're going to use them on the Channel tables, but we decided to turn on the doors for this game. This is the lady with the mace and the, you know, the reroll armor saves aura. I should really remember the names, right, of my models, but there you go. And here is the comms style guy, the Dialogus. And then down here that you can't see, we've got the relic bearer with the cup down here, and the banner, the banner wielding sister of battle just here as well. Okay. Over on the Genestealer cult side, here's the heavy, I think, with the not the mining laser, the other one, the seismic cannon. The heavy with the mining laser is here. Up here, having chosen dash, you can see there's the Kellamorph. And then the leader is here with his power pick and his bolt pistol. Here we've got a the guy in the cloak, not a Magus, not a Sanctus, the other one that I can't remember the name of, the one with the Quicksilver blade aura. And then the other fellas, I think this one has a flamethrower, and then I'm pretty sure all the others are auto gun guys. And then in reserve, using the Genestealer cult stratagem to hold two of them back in like a reserve, there's the grenade launcher fellow and the another auto gun guy, right? My objectives, so I had seize ground. So this was my piece of heavy terrain, which was just outside blue of my deployment zone that I needed to finish the game near. I had the Sisters of Battle faction tack up. That means that you declare an objective that's red away from your deployment zone, and you get an extra victory point for that. One any point and one for holding it at the end, and I picked this one here. And then for my third objective, I had hold ground, hold the line, the one where you get a victory point for each turn. No, you get a victory point over 2 turns when the enemy hasn't got a model within red of your deployment zone, because I figured I was a close combat-y team, they were a shooty team, so probably they weren't going to come near, or if they did try and come near to deny me that, then all the better for me to stab them, so I thought that would be a good choice. The Genestealers picked the one from the Genestealer cult book, which is where I place down an objective anywhere on the table, and they have to try and claim it. That's what that token is. They also had the one from the standard missions where you have to implant. I forget what it's called, but you know, where you do the implant in close combat with a hit, and you don't do any damage with the hit, and you do that once, you get a victory point. If you hit 2 more times, you get a second victory point. Super flavorful for the Genestealer cultists. And the third one was the one for where you just run a guy off the enemy board edge, and you get 2 victory points for running off the enemy board edge. Okay, so what actually happened over the course of the turn? Well, let's have a look, and I'm probably not going to remember this in the order that it occurred, but I will do my very, very best to remember what went on. So, what can I remember? So, the relic bearer has moved to secure this objective here, okay, from this location here. So she's gone up there, used her relic to generate some faith points, and then picked up the firewall. The sniper is still up here. The sniper, there was my wife made a very slight misplay. Basically, she moved her mining laser up and stood him here, and was under the impression that, I forget what the ploy is called. She set up a tactical ploy, which means that light terrain also grants obscuring. So she thought that there was just going to be a hair of light terrain. I think this little piece here. And we got the laser lines out after she placed the model down, and I was like, no, I've got the shot, right? And so I took a shot there. I managed to one-shot the mining laser before it got to do anything, because it's a heavy weapon, of course, so in its first turn it had to move up. And that was my kill. I think probably the only kill in that first turn of the game, which was kind of, kind of something. Obviously, there's a cultist here that's moved up from the starting line just to capture and take that objective. He's on a conceal. He couldn't be shot because the scrap pile here, light terrain, but it was counting as obscuring because of the Genestealers ploy. The Kellamorph had, so my Eviscerator had been whipped by the whippy lady that was over here and then moved up this way. So it had +1 circle to its movement and an extra action point, and so was able to move up to here with 1 action, and then actually sort of used to scramble to get across there, and ended up on the objective. Took an auto pistol shot at this fellow, but it didn't do anything. The Kellamorph kind of popped up, did shooting at the Eviscerator, and then with his 3rd AP, he dashed back down. But ended up there on 6 wounds. He did do more than 1 wound of damage to me, but when he shot my Eviscerator, she was back here next to, this is my medic here, so I was able to medic some of those wounds back in and use faith to get some of those wounds back in as well. Over on the top side of the board, I think my banner has just moved into here. You can't quite see, but she was basically hiding behind there because this was my piece of terrain, which this here's my piece of terrain, which was going to reach towards the end of the game. In retrospect, the tactic of standing with my models behind a thing and then leaving it there for 3 turns, possibly not the best use of resources. My mace has straightforwardly just walked up from her position and picked up that firewall. The Genestealer cultists have come forwards here to pick up the firewall, and they're holding position there. The Genestealer cults here had come up and were holding position there on that, sort of behind that barricade. So they've set up a heck of a kill zone here. And the heavy guy's moved up here and positioned, but not been able to shoot because he is a heavy, so he's moved and he can't shoot. What I did, sort of, I don't want to say stupidly, but in a perhaps slightly ill-advised turn of events, when the combat fellow came forwards like this, I charged my duelist right up and through the door, so my duelist was there. I lost that combat, but they've taken the wounds, him down to 5 wounds, and then I also did an explosion, which has taken a wound off this fellow, and I can't for the life of me remember how he ended up down on 3 wounds. There was something else that went on that meant I got some wounds on the flamer as well. One was certainly from the tactical ploy, where I've done 1 mortal wound when I exploded at the end of that combat, and 1 wound has come from somewhere else. Not too sure. Maybe an auto pistol shot, but I don't think it was. Maybe I had another model that I've lost somewhere, but regardless, or maybe no, can't think, but it's probably not that important in the grand scheme of things. So that's basically where we are at the end of turn 1. We've each kind of lost a powerful piece. I've lost my duelist, and the Genestealer cults have lost their mining laser, but I am claiming we each scored 2 points from clearing firewalls, but I'm getting a point. Well, I'm actually getting 3 points here because I got my secondary and the 2 points for claiming it. And even though we kind of traded powerful pieces, the mining laser did nothing, whereas at least the duelist kind of did damage here, and then some more damage by exploding, and she earned a faith point back, that kind of thing. So that was where we were at the end of turn 1. So going into turn 2, so once again, the format of these battle reports, the picture on the left is the exact same picture that was previously the picture on the right at the end of the previous slide. So a lot of stuff has happened in this turn. It was a really big turn. So the my leader, who was here, came marching through this door. Didn't do a charge because I didn't want to enter into sort of attack of opportunity range of this guy here. Blasted him with a plasma gun, a plasma pistol on full power, which killed the still can't remember the name of the character, but the combat guy with the quicksilver blade attack. So that was good. I think what happened is Mrs. Tabletop Impulse basically forgot about those doors being there. Yeah, so that's what happened there. But then, of course, in the next picture, you'll see that my leader is not in the middle of the table. So my leader ended up dying. There was quite a rigmarole with that. So all basically, there was, I think, the heavy weapon up here had to go. The various little gun fellas here all kind of had to go at my leader and took down the leader. I think there was something else. So you can see that the whippy one later followed up after the sort of most of these guys up here had activated, and she's kind of contesting the point there. You can see that my so here we've got the medic. The medic's moved up to no. The medic is here. The medic has moved up to here, right? This one is the comms. The comms has moved up to there. Okay. the mace lady that was here moved into the middle to try and support the leader with her re-rolling armor saves ability, because I realised I was in this kill zone. But of course this fella has blast. I nearly forgot the coolest thing it managed to do. So it managed to really knock chunks off both of those. You've just seen the before and after the whole turn, but there was quite an involved firefight. If you can imagine, this fella fires his blast weapon at both the leader and the mace bearer one, knocks chunks out of them, and then really it's mop-up fire from these two guys here that are still here, and sort of this fellow here who's moved over here, and this one here, who has died. I think was taken out by the whip lady, sort of coming across and doing an attack. And that's kind of the north side. Yeah. So kind of cleared a lot of Genestealers off there. Down on the south side of the board, it really did feel like a game of two halves. You know, basically nothing of consequence crossed through this line. Obviously, these guys came up, so the line should kind of go around there like that. But it really felt like we were playing two games. I think psychologically, with this bridge being here, nobody wanted to kind of knock it out of the way, even though we could have just lifted it off and moved models. But nobody ran across it, and nobody wanted to move under it. So I wonder, although it looks really cool on the photograph, I wonder if it might actually be better without that bridge there. I don't know. The chainsaw came up and did a charge here on the Kellamorph, and managed to take out both the Kellamorph and this cultist standing here, which was really, really cool, in my opinion, right? So the Eviscerator gets to fight twice. Very rarely it comes off, and she also has Reap 2, which, again, you just rarely find yourself, or I do anyway, with my sort of lackluster playing skills, find myself in the ability to play that well. So I managed to do that there. This guy, so she's up there, then the Genestealer cult leader, you can see here, he's then come down and killed her off in combat, but in the process he's gotten reduced down to 1 wound. And then this fella's come across and to contest the point, and my relic bearer here has come up to contest the point there. So, and then my sniper, I believe, spent that entire turn with not a lot to do. Yeah. I mean, she had an effect because there was a lot of really cagey play going on. I'm going to have to go for a third colour. There was a lot of cagey play going on in this whole area because Mrs. Tabletop Impulse was very worried about the sniper and about being in a, you know, understandably after what happened to the heavy mining laser in the first turn. So she was very interested about the sniper, very cagily, and possibly that focus on that meant that some of my other things would get into a better position. But unless I am misremembering, I don't think the sniper actually killed anybody in that turn. But it goes to show, I think, that sometimes, you know, just having a model with impressive firing lanes can have an effect on the game, even if it's not getting its points back, right? Even if it's not killing things. So at the end of turn 2, it was a low-scoring round for me anyway. So I, in this turn, scored hold the line, or yeah, because my deployment zone for this game is basically there. So there's nothing within the red of that. So I got 1 victory point there. Neither of us are on these central objectives uncontested, because we've managed to get models, both of us, on the central objectives. Mrs. T.I. scored at least 1 point from implant at this point, if not 2. I know she scored both points from implant at various points in the game. I can't for the life of me remember exactly when it was, but she did max out implant. Oh, I tell you what I've forgotten. I'm pretty sure this was, it's not in the before or the after shots, but I'm pretty sure this is the turn that the two guys from reserve showed up, and now I've remembered what my sniper did, I think. So the grenade launcher fellow basically turned up Yeah, I want to say. And he fired his grenade at the was it originally at the eviscerator before she charged off? But then the grenade launcher fellow was shot by the sniper. I think that might have been what happened. Either way, he turned up, shot, almost killed somebody. I then healed that person up with faith points, and then he himself was killed. It could have been by the sniper. Can't remember. And then the other fella came on up here, and then immediately ran this way off the edge of the map to score interloper. So that was good. No, he can't have done that. He must have come up there this turn, and then next turn he runs straight off. But either way, yeah, here he is. Here he is, look. So he turned up last turn, actually, at the end of turn 1, hid there, and this turn he ran off. I just missed him on the previous slide because he didn't do anything. Okay, good. Moving on. So turn 3. And we can try and have a think of what happened in turn 3. So I had a really good play in turn 3. I used the Sisters ploy, where if you have a model who is within white of an objective and on an engage order, they can either shoot or fight at the start of the turn. And got that to do a free shoot action before I'd activated this model. So I managed to kill this fellow off in the pre-game phase. If only my Relic Bearer had been on engage, I could have done a fight action there as well and potentially killed 2 things without activating my model, but it wasn't quite to be. But nevertheless, when it rolled around to the turn, I activated the Relic Bearer, who's here, and won this fight here. The leader, who's here, then came down and did a charge on the Relic Bearer and killed her. And my banner, who's back here, then had to come up through the door to here and finished off the Genestealer cult leader with an auto pistol shot. That's what happened down in the south of the table. Meanwhile, up at the north end of the table, I think it was reasonably straightforward. So my comms here, I think she tried to deploy a sort of you can't shoot -1 ballistic skill thing here, and then she ended up here on the objective. That was her 2 actions. The whip, having not had to fight, not had to use its activation to kill that model, went up here and actually managed to charge and I think kill that guy in combat. I can't see how else he would have died, which was pretty lucky rolling, to be honest. And then I think it's my medic who's coming around here who came through and put more wounds back onto the Whippy lady who'd taken the auto gunfire, either from both of those or at least this one guy. I think it was just this one guy who'd shot back or combated back. No, he must have shot, the medic healed, and then the whip charged. That must have been the way around that it was. And then this fellow caused me a problem. He ran over here looking to score these objectives, but I sort of moved my sniper down and round here. That was the last thing of the thing, and shot up there. The heavy up here moved and shot, but I don't think, I certainly can't see what he killed. So either he fluffed his roll or he's killed something and then I've put the wounds back on with faith points. Maybe he's what did the damage to the whip before she moved. That means that the medic here has moved up right to heal the whip. And then that was the end of turn 3, and the Genestealer cults only had 1 model left, so Mrs. Tabletop Impulse decided to concede, because obviously I was just going to move on to here to score. Well, I was going to sort of have to move the medic onto there to score that. The banner stays here to score this one. You know, and then he could potentially have shot something off, but then he couldn't have moved on to here to score victory points. So she basically had a choice between score 2 points that I probably couldn't do anything about. Well, I could take a pot shot with this, I suppose, or shoot one of these to deny me 2 points. But either way, it wasn't going to make a difference because I'd won. And so we'd sort of talked it out and then, yeah, didn't play the last turn. Sorry about that. So, final thoughts. It's worth saying that generally speaking, Mrs. Table of Impulse wins and beats me all the time. Like if she was playing a Harlequins, I would have lost. But I have been playing this, well, you know how much I've been playing with this team, because every game I think I played with the Novitiates has been on this channel as a battle report, whereas this was literally her first time playing with that team. It was her first time kind of reading some of the rules for the first time. So don't take away from this that the Genestealer cults are weak. I think it's possible that my read on them and my prediction at this point is that they're a stronger team than the Novitiates, but the Novitiates will win in the matchup where they play against each other. Because I really rate the Genestealer cults, I do. I don't think they're as good as Commandos or Pathfinders. I think they're roughly the same as the Novitiates. I think they might even do better than the Novitiates in a sort of strength of schedule tournament thing, because they have a mix of shooting and combat, whereas the Novitiates really struggle for shooting. But I think when you're fighting a combat team, and the Novitiates' big weakness is that they are really easy to kill in combat. Like if you look at it, they've got a low armor save, low wounds. The faith points can keep them alive in the shooting phase pretty handily, but if you get into combat with a Novitiate, it dies. The thing with the Genestealer cults is they don't really have very much that wants to be in combat. You've got your leader, and then potentially 2 of your operatives, if you take 2 combat-oriented ones. And then the rest wants to shoot, and it's just as squishy as the Novitiates, but it doesn't have faith to keep it alive. It has manipulating the cover, which, no, that was a strong ability, manipulating the cover to make it have obscuring. That did save some cultists in turn 1 for sure. And I think manipulating the tokens and flipping them up and down, and there were definitely, I think with practice, I think there's quite a high skill ceiling there. I think with practice and manipulating those tokens and being on conceal a lot of the time, I think you will do pretty well. But yeah, I also think that, in fairness, again, to my wife, she was pretty limited by the models that we had on hand. So she took the Kellamorph and the, still can't remember his name, still not a Magus, the fellow with the Quicksilver Strike. And that was because those were the 2 she had. We didn't own any Sanctuses, so we didn't have those available. The one judgment I am prepared to render about Genestealer cults, though, is that the objective, I like their objective that means that you have to, essentially, you get a kill in one turn. If you get a kill with a cult, in fact, if you do a wound with one of your cult operatives and none of your other guys take a wound, then you get your 2 victory points. I think that's quite easy to score, potentially on turn 1, if you take the Sanctus Sniper, which we didn't have, right? But I think that one might be good. But generally, I'm not that impressed with objectives. Certainly the one that Mrs. T.I. took in that game, where I get to place an objective. Like, I'm a really combat-heavy team, and my shooting that I have is all pistols. I want you to come over to me, so I'm going to place an objective over on my half of the board. And in my case, I knew I had, I knew which piece of terrain, because I'd measured out before I took the objective, I was going to take for my seized ground. And I knew that I wanted to put her thing that she had to take in the opposite corner to my thing that I wanted to take, because I wanted the Genestealers to be trying to push over there, and I could have my 2 points overall over in my corner. There will definitely be a rematch. Really keen to play these again a couple of times. You know, I'm fixed on the Novitiates. I'm kind of waiting for there to be a bespoke team that Mrs. Tabletop Impulse really likes, and then We might do a narrative campaign, might put that on YouTube as well, so you can kind of watch us explore the narrative rules. I think that'll be interesting, but playing narrative where one player's it's an just 40k, right? Playing narrative where one player doesn't have the full suite of narrative rules is going to be really upsetting. I really think for the compendium, you don't want to play narrative with the compendium team. So, but there will be a rematch against the Genestealer cults for sure. Alright, that's been nearly 30 minutes of rambling on about a battle report with about 5 images in it, so if you've made it this far through, you must really enjoy listening to the sound of my voice as I trip over my words and so forth. Please like the video if you like it, please subscribe if you haven't already, and for some reason would like to hear more from me. There's a Discord channel that you can join, there's a link to that in the description. And if you want to buy something from Element Games, I'll get a little bit of money back. You can do that as well. But yeah, it's all at your discretion, isn't it? The most important thing really is that I hope you have a really great day. All right. Thanks everybody. Cheery bye.